Hello, my name is Adam Krutzler, and this is my presentation on OpenNMS for ITD 3153. This OpenNMS is a fully scalable, enterprise-grade, open-source monitoring program. Most of the options for enterprise network monitoring are subscription based, and you have to pay quite a bit of money to get them. So having an option for an open source option is really good for companies, smaller companies who can't afford to pay thousands of dollars to have a network monitoring program, but still need a program that can monitor the devices that they have. And with OpenNMS and its capability to scale up depending on the size of the organization, this allows for possibly unlimited monitoring of devices. It's written in Java, which is great for compatibility since Java can be run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It was developed as an open source program in 1999 and first published in 2002. And it was run or managed by a company called Oculin, who was using the application to basically as a base code for another program that they were building onto to sell to customers. And they decided that they no longer wanted to support or build OpenNMS, and so it was taken by one of their former employees and turned into the OpenNMS group, who supports OpenNMS. It has quite a few functions. It can monitor many services and collect the data. It also has notifications which can be sent to network engineers for quick and response to any downtime, especially important when any of that downtime can cause lost revenue for the organization. There's two versions of OpenNMS. The founder of the OpenNMS group saw that running an open source programming company would not be that great for making a lot of money, and he based his concept for OpenNMS on how Red Hat does with their Fedora project. Customers can pay a subscription fee to get access to Fedora, which is a more stable version of their operating system. So with OpenNMS, you have Horizon, the free version that anyone can go online and download and use under a general public use license. And then you have Meridian, the paid subscription version that companies can pay a little bit more to get the more stable version. Because of this, the Meridian project only puts out a new version once a year, whereas the Horizon project, you get one almost once a quarter. Prior to installation of a setup of OpenNMS, there's some considerations that must be made. Even though it's compatible with most operating systems, the most widely supported and utilized version is Linux. Most of the support, especially for the Meridian version, is that it will get its support from the community. So on forums or other such places on the internet, you can get your support for OpenNMS, but you're not going to get as much support for Windows or other versions. So for this presentation, we'll be looking at the installation on Linux and the Ubuntu version of Linux. No matter which operating system you install it on, though, since it is written in Java, you have to have the Java developer kit installed on the machine in order for OpenNMS to run. The database, though, requires the installation of PostgreSQL. Prior to installation, we're going to ensure that we have the most up-to-date version of the operating system installed. On Ubuntu, the two commands you would need to do are listed on the screen of update and upgrade commands. You must also have a fully qualified domain name set up on your system, and we will look into how to do that. You'll add OpenNMS into Ubuntu's repository. It is not in there by default. And once you add it into the file for the repository and update the operating system on the new repository, you'll be able to put through the commands to install OpenNMS. After the installation, you will need to create the database that OpenNMS will use to store the data it gets. After starting OpenNMS, you must configure the firewall. The firewall on Ubuntu by default is set to block port 8980, which is the port that's used for the web interface to log into the management console for OpenNMS. After you've got that unblocked, you'll connect into the portal and with the default username and password of admin, and you'll set your own password. At this point, you're free to add the nodes that you would like OpenNMS to monitor. We're going to look at a website that has a good tutorial on the installation with Ubuntu. So first you will see the commands that I discussed about upgrading to the latest stable version. And here we have the commands to add in a fully qualified domain name onto your host. So you'll go into the hosts file, add in this following line, although you will modify the IP address to match the IP address of the machine that you are running, and then you will edit the hostname file to change it to the hostname that you set in your hosts file. When you're finished, you restart your system in order for these changes to take effect. It discusses the installation and instructions for PostgreSQL. So you will use a sudo command to install, configure the config file, and then save and close and restart the service. Following that, you'll install Java. Although Java 8 is not supported yet, it's recommended to use Java 7, and you can install it using the following commands that are listed on the screen. After this, you install OpenNMS. You have to add OpenNMS into the repository using the commands that are listed on the screen. And then once you update the repository, you can download the key and install OpenNMS. Once it's installed, you create the database and start OpenNMS. Here are the commands that you use to update the firewall to allow connection into the portal. And you will use the IP address of your system or local host if you are connecting from the same machine that you are currently using, along with the port 8980 /OpenNMS. We'll be using admin and admin, and although it doesn't show it on this screen, you should change your password as soon as you have finished the installation for security reasons. Next, it shows instructions on how to add a node for OpenNMS to monitor. Once you've done that, it will monitor your nodes. And as you can see from the screenshot here you can see your events, availability, and you can go through and also set up notifications and other custom settings. I think my opinion is that, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a great option for companies that are getting big enough that they need to be able to monitor their network, but they don't have the budget to include a proprietary license for something such as SolarWinds or one of the other bigger paid subscription network monitoring systems. For my sources, these are some of the websites that I use to get this information. With this How To Forge site is the one that we were looking at for the installation instructions on Ubuntu. There's also some great information on techtarget.com, and I watched a YouTube video that is by the man who was working at Oculin and took the project from them and opened the OpenNMS group. The full bibliography will be in the Word document for the submission. Thank you.